Welcome to the first course on importing data in Python. My name is Hugo Bown-Anderson and I'm a data scientist at datacamp. In this course, you'll learn how to Welcome to the first course on importing data in Python. My name is Hugo Bown-Anderson and I'm a data scientist at datacamp. In this course, you'll learn how to import data from a large variety of sources. For example, flat files such as TXTs and CSVs, files native to other software such as Excel spreadsheets, Stata, SAS and MATLAB files, relational databases such as SQLite and MySQL. We'll cover all of these topics in this course. First off, we're going to learn how to import basic text files, which we can broadly classify into two types of files. Those containing plain text, such as the opening of Mark Twain's novel The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which you can see here. Those containing records, that is, table data, such as titanic.csv, in which each row is a unique passenger on board, and each column is a characteristic or feature, such as sex, cabin, and survived or not. The latter is known as a flat file, and we'll come back to these in a minute. In this section, we'll figure out how to read lines from a plain text file. So let's do it. To check out any plain text file, you can use Python's basic open function to open a connection to the file. To do so, you assign the file name to a variable as a string. Pass the file name to the function open and also pass it the argument mode equals r, which makes sure that we can only read it. We wouldn't want to accidentally write to it, would we? Assign the text from the file to a variable text by applying the method read to the connection to the file. After you do this, make sure that you close the connection to the file using the command file.close. It's always best practice to clean while cooking. You can then print the file to the console and check it out using the command print text. A brief side note, if you wanted to open a file in order to write to it, you would pass it the argument mode equals w. We won't use that in this course, as this is a course on importing data, but it is good to know. You can avoid having to close the connection to the file by using a with statement. This allows you to create a context in which you can execute commands with the file open. Once out of this clause or context, the file is no longer open, and for this reason, with is called a context manager. What you're doing here is called binding a variable in the context manager construct. While still within this construct, the variable file will be bound to open file name r. It is best practice to use the with statement, as you never have to concern yourself with closing the file again. In the following interactive coding sessions, you'll figure out how to print files to the console. You'll also learn to print specific lines, which can be very useful for large files. Then we'll be back to discuss flat files, and then I'll show you how to use the Python package NumPy to make our job of importing flat files and numerical data a far easier beast to tame. Enjoy.
Okay, so let's go to the practice. In order to import data into Python, you should first have an idea of what files are in your working directory. So IPython, which is running on datacamp's servers, has a bunch of cool commands, including its magic commands. So for example, starting a line with a exclamation point gives you complete system shell access. This means that the IPython command, !ls will display the contents of your current directory. Our task is to use the IPython magic command !ls to check out the contents of our current directory and answer the following question. Which of the following files is in your working directory? So this here is the IPython shell, and we have to, it says there that to check on the files on our working directory. We have to type then ls. Then the answer there is moby_dick.txt. So you have to submit the answer, and then so for in this exercise, we'll be working with the file moby_dick.txt. It is a text file that contains the opening sentences of Moby Dick, one of the great American novels. Here we'll get the experience of opening a text file, printing its contents to the shell, and finally closing it. So for the instructions, open the file moby_dick.txt as read-only and store it in the variable file. Make sure to pass the file name enclosed in question marks. So actually, I've answered this yesterday. So is here the file equals open moby_dick.txt. Then for the read-only, the parameter here is mode equals R. Then for the next instruction, print the contents of the file to the shell using the print function. So as Hugo showed in the video, we need to apply the method read to the object file. So here we have to print the read the file. So to do that, file.read. Then to print the content of the file that we have read, we have to put the the file.read inside a print function. So hello, thank you, Tuna the Cuber. One of my classes just recently went over file manipulation in Python. This course is used to open the file in the read only. Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm just I'm learning Python, and while learning, I'm doing a live stream to motivate me to learn. Okay, thank you so much. And now, then to continue with the instructions, check whether the file is closed by executing print file closed. So it is, we have here file.closed, then print file.closed. So we have to run the code, and So what we did was open the file, then read it, then print the contents of the file, then close the file. Okay, so then submit the answer. Thank you so much, Tuna, the cuber. Then after that, importing text files line by line. For large files, we may not want to print all of their content to the shell. So we may wish to print only the first few lines. Enter the readline method. So with the previous exercise, we have printed all the contents of the file. Now we're going to just print the first few lines of the file. Okay, so when a file called file is open, you can print out the first line by executing file.readline. If we execute the same command again, the second line will print and so on. So in the introductory video, Hugo also introduced the concept of a context manager. He showed that we can bind a variable file by using a context manager construct. We'd open the file name as file. So while still within this construct, the variable file will be bound to open. Sample here is the hackfin.txt, but with the exercise, we have to use the mobi_dict.txt. So to print the file to the shell and the code we need to execute is with open, then the text file as file, then print file.readline. So we'll now have to use these tools to print the first few lines of mobi_dict.text. So for the instructions, open mobi_dict.text with using the with context manager and the variable file. So here we have to open the file we have to use here is the mobi_dict.text. Then print the first 3 lines of the file to the shell by using readline 3 times within the context manager. So we can see here that we have used the readline function 3 times to display or to print the first 3 lines of the text file's content. So we have to run the code, and as we can see here, the first line is this chapter 1 loomings. Then the second line is a blank line. Then the third line is the call me Ismael some years ago. Never mind how long precisely having. So then we have to submit the answer. Hi, hello, Miss Ja. Thank you.
Now you know how to import plain text files. We're going to look at flat files, such as titanic.csv, in which each row is a unique passenger on board, and each column is a feature or attribute such as gender, cabin, and survived or not. It's essential for any budding data scientist to know precisely what the term flat file means. Flat files are basic text files containing records, that is, table data without structured relationships. This is in contrast to a relational database, for example, in which columns of distinct tables can be related. We'll get to these later. To be even more precise, flat files consist of records, whereby a record we mean a row of fields or attributes, each of which contains at most one item of information. In the flat file titanic.csv, each row or record is a unique passenger on board, and each column is a feature or attribute, such as name, gender, and cabin. It is also essential to note that a flat file can have a header, such as in titanic.csv, which is a row that occurs as the first row and describes the contents of the data columns or states what the corresponding attributes or features in each column are. It will be important to know whether or not your file has a header, as it may alter your data import. The reason that flat files are so important in data science is that we data scientists really honestly like to think in records or rows of attributes. Now you may have noticed that the file extension was .csv. You may be wondering, what is this? Well, CSV is an acronym for comma separated value, and it means exactly what it says. The values in each row are separated by commas. Another common extension for a flat file is .txt, which means a text file. Values in flat files can be separated by characters or sequences of characters other than commas, such as a tab, and the character or characters in question is called a delimiter. See here an example of a tab delimited file. The data consists of the famous MNIST digit recognition images, where each row contains the pixel values of a given image. Note that all fields in the MNIST data are numeric, while the Titanic CSV also contains strings. How do we import such files? If they consist entirely of numbers and we want to store them as a NumPy array, we could use the package NumPy. If instead we want to store the data in a data frame, we would use pandas. Most of the time, you will use one of these options. In the rest of this chapter, you'll learn how to import flat files that contain only numerical data, such as the MNIST data, import flat files that contain both numerical data and strings, such as titanic.csv. But first, let's get you to do a couple of quick multiple choice questions to test your knowledge of flat files.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So for the pop quiz, examples of flat files. Importing text files, and we're about to become okay. But can we remember exactly what a flat file is? Test our knowledge by answering the following questions. Which of these files below is not an example of a flat file? Not an example. It's a relational database. Okay, then which of the following statements about flat files is incorrect? So flat files consist of multiple tables, which with structured relationships between the tables. I think that's the answer. So why we like flat files and the zen of Python? So in Python land, there are currently hundreds of Python and enhancement proposals, commonly referred to as the PEPs. PEP, okay. So that is Python enhancement proposals. For example, it is a standard guide, style guide for Python, written by the Sensei Guido van Rossum himself. It is the basis for how we here at Datacamp ask our instructors to style their code. Another one of my another one is the PEP 20, commonly called the Zen of Python. So I don't know what is BDFL. So we have to look here, the glossary, BDFL. Benevolent dictator for life, Python's creator. Okay. You can print the Zen of Python in your shell by typing import this into it. I'm just following the instructions so that I can learn. Import this. Oh. The question we need to answer is, what is the fifth aphorism? What is aphorism of the Zen of Python? Wait. What is aphorism? Which essentially lays out the kind of style. Thank you for tutoring me. So PEP8 is a document which essentially lays out the kind of style in which one may write Python code, such as whether or not they use uppercase letters at the start of variable names or not, whether words in variables are separated by underscores or not, or stuff. Okay. So it's a standard coding practices on Python. But what is aphorism? Okay. So I think this is the Zen of Python by Tim Peters. Beautiful is better than ugly. Explicit is better than implicit. Simple is better than complex. Complex is better than complicated. Then the fifth is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flat is better than nested. Flat is better than nested. Is that it? Readability counts. Then special cases aren't special enough to break the rules. Although practicality beats purity, error should never pass silently. Is this the fifth? Okay.
Okay, so you now know how to use Python's built-in open function to open text files. What if you now want to import a flat file and assign it to a variable? If all the data are numerical, you can use the package numpy to import the data as a numpy array. Now, why would we want to do this? First off, numpy arrays are the Python standard for storing numerical data. They are efficient, fast, and clean. Secondly, NumPy arrays are often essential for other packages, such as scikit-learn, a popular machine learning package for Python. NumPy itself has a number of built-in functions that make it far easier and more efficient for us to import data as arrays. Enter the NumPy functions, load text and gen from text.
NumPy arrays, standard for storing numerical data. Me, I'm bad with I'm bad with definition of terms and what is scikit-learn? Load text gen.
To use either of these, we first need to import NumPy. We then call load text and pass it the file name as the first argument, along with the delimiter as the second argument. Note that the default delimiter is any white space, so we'll usually need to specify it explicitly. There are a number of additional arguments you may wish to specify. If, for example, your data consists of numerics and your header has strings in it, such as in the MNIST digits data, you will want to skip the first row by calling load text with the argument skip rows equal to 1. If you want only the first and third columns of the data, you'll want to set usecols equal to the list containing ints 0 and 2. You can also import different data types into NumPy arrays. For example, setting the argument dtype equal to string will ensure that all entries are imported as strings. Load text is great for basic cases, but tends to break down when we have mixed data types. For example, columns consisting of floats and columns consisting of strings, such as we saw in the Titanic dataset. Now it's your turn to have fun with load text. You'll also gain hands-on experience with other functions that can handle mixed data types. In the next video, we'll see that although NumPy arrays can handle data of mixed types, the natural place for such data really is the data frame.
We have so much knowledge. Said that NumPy is very good because it is faster than native Python format. Because NumPy is written in a faster programming language, C, and importing it into Python lets you make use of math functions without the slowness of Python. It feels like I'm taking. I have a personal tutor here. Thank you so much. So using NumPy to import plot files. So within in this exercise, we're now going to load the. Actually, I'm new to this. That's why I'm learning. MNIST digit recognition dataset using the NumPy function load text and see how easy it can be. Just how easy it can be. The first argument will be the file name. So the first argument is the file name, and then the second will be the delimiter, which in this case is a comma. Okay. So import NumPy as np, then the file is digits.csv. Then digits equals np.loadText. Then delimiter equals It's a comma. Then now we have to print the type of digits. Wait. Let me finish the instructions. Then you can now find more information about the MNIST dataset here on the web page of. Oh, okay. So I have to check again. Of handwritten digits. Okay. So for the instructions, fill in the arguments of np.loadText. Okay, by passing file and a comma for the delimiter. So I've done that. And now fill in the argument of print to print the type of the object digits. Use the function type. How do I do that? Print the digits the type. Is this correct? Okay. Then execute the rest of the code to visualize one of the rows of the data. Let me see. There was an error. What is the error? Due to a syntax error. What is the syntax error? Yes. Yes. Yes, it is throwing everything. The course is using Matplotlib. So you're teaching also. One of my classes just recently went over the manipulation file in Python. When you say one of your classes, do you mean do you handle a class or you're a student? Uh, you said that you're a bad programmer because you ignore the conventions, but I guess you're very good because you understand all these things. You're very knowledgeable about Python. It's faster than. Wow, you're a student. You're a student, and yet you knew so much. You're a student, and yet you can. I can learn a lot from you. I thank you again, Miss Ja. So what could be my error? Pass the file name already stored in file for to the first argument. Though pass the file name already stored in file to the first argument of load text and the delimiter to the second argument file delimiter equals tama naman. I think it's correct of np.loadText. Then to print the data type of an object x to the shell pass type. Aha! So this is what's wrong. So to the function. Okay. So we have to do this type. Then digits. Okay. So my syntax is wrong. Okay. So to print the type of the array, we have to use the we have to put the array inside the type function, then inside the print function. So okay, okay. I hope that course isn't losing over and just thinking it is a way to plot data. I think it would be better if the course took a break from the data stuff and just gave a short video showing what MATLAB does. Actually, I'm still not familiar. I still don't know what MATLAB. So it is a library. MATLAB. Then customizing our NumPy import. What if there are rows such as a header that we don't want to import? Okay, what if your file has a delimiter other than a comma? What if you only wish to import particular columns? So to do that, we have to customize our NumPy import. There are a number of arguments that np.loadText takes that we'll find useful. So delimiter changes the delimiter. We can always change the delimiter, okay, that load text is expecting. We can use the comma delimiter. Then we can also use the tab delimiter. So this is the comma delimiter. Okay. I know the comma delimiter, but the next one we have to use the tab. And skip rows allows us to specify how many rows we wish to skip. Then use calls takes a list of the indices of the columns that we wish to keep. And the file that we'll be importing, which is digits underscore header dot text dot txt, has a header and is tab delimited. So for the instructions, complete the arguments of the np.loadtext. The file we're importing is tab delimited. We want to skip the first row and only want to import the first and the third columns. So import numpy as np. Assign the file name file, which is digits underscore header dot txt. Then load the data. File, then the delimiter. The delimiter we have used here is the tab. Where's the backslash? I can see the backslash on my keyboard. This is a slash. Where is the backslash? Okay. Okay. Then skip rows. Skip the first row and only want to import the first and third column. Hi, hello, Miss Jennifer. Hello. It's the library of the course. It is using to grab the data. Yes, you're a very good student because you all know the answers to my questions. You're very full of information. You're very knowledgeable. Hello, Miss Jennifer. So, why? Yes, I'm Lola Rosa. You said that you're a bad programmer, but I think you're a very good student. Or either that or you're already a genius because you know all we know all the information that I'm trying to learn. Can require a lot of code if you're making a complex graph as well. Then there are things that we can add on to. How do you pronounce that? Matplotlib. To me, to make graphing even simpler and usually easier. But the downside is it's more stuff to learn. But I guess we can learn everything as long as we have the will, the willingness to learn. Thank you, Miss Jennifer. The willingness and the determination can always learn. Okay. But I don't know how to. It says here that we have to import the first and the third column. So how do I code that? Can I? But it says that it is the index. So if you're going to use the zero indexing, So the first is 0 and the third is number 2. Then complete the argument of the print function call in order to print the entire array that we just imported. Print function complete array is the data. That. I hope this is right. Once again, I have an error, but I guess in learning, we can learn from our mistakes. So uh, we have to check here what is our error. There was an error in our code. There's a syntax error in the code we submitted, and the error message that positional argument follows keyword argument. This error occurs because you have used a positional argument after keyword argument. What is meant by positional argument? Positional argument. Thank you again, Miss Ja. So to fix this error, we need to remove the comma between. Okay. So that's the error because I've said before, I don't know what the syntax is of the. Okay. So we have to put this in an array. Use calls. Ah. Wait. So I think this is better way of learning to encounter errors so we can learn what is the right syntax of coding. So it says here that the correct syntax should be use calls equals to place the yes, because it is an array. It's an array, we have to place it inside the open close. What do you call that? Square bracket. Yes, square bracket. Then let's try to run the code. Yay! Basically, it's that after the yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Ja, and thank you, Miss Jennifer. Then importing different data types. The file syslog.txt has a text header consisting of strings, and it is tab delimited. So this data consists of a percentage of C slug larvae that had metamorphosed in a given time period. We have to read again. Yes. Since we're extracting data or we're importing data from text files or CSV files, we have to check on the contents of the file. So here is the C slug data. So it says here that this is a C slug. I don't know what is a C slug. It is about 1/4 of an inch long. Dr. Patrick K. Krug is a marine biologist at UCLA who gives a living studying these creatures. He has generously donated data from his recent study. So this is the data we have to extract the data from. This is the file, rather. This is the file where we have to extract the data from. Then it has a text header consisting of strings and is tab delimited. Okay. This is the header. Then this data consists of percentage of sea slug larvae that had metamorphosed. Okay, I've read that before. Due to the header, if you tried to import it as is using np.loadtext, Python would throw you a value error and tell you that it could not convert string to float. So there are two ways to deal with this. Firstly, we can set the data type argument dtype equal to variable string str for string. Then thank you so much. Then alternatively, we can skip the first row as we have seen before using the skip rows argument. So for the instructions, actually, I'm reading it, but I'm not absorbing anything. Have the zero after this. Two after the zero in Scots. Okay. Thank you, Tuna the cuber. Thank you for staying and thank you for giving so much useful information. So, for the instructions, I have to absorb first what I've read. So we have to set the data type argument dtype equal to string data. Okay. So first import file data. And once again, you have to use the file, then we can skip the first row as we have seen before using the skip rows argument. So for the instructions, complete the first call to np.loadtext by passing file as the first argument. So I've done that. Then execute print data 0, so the first index, to print the first element of data. Okay, it's done here. Then complete the second call to np.loadtext. The file we're importing is tab delimited. The data type is float, and we want to skip the first row. Then once again, the delimiter is tab. So tab is then the type is float. Float, then skip rows, and you want to skip the first row. Then print the 10th element of data float. 10th element only. So data float. Am I doing this right? The 10th element. Okay. execute the rest of the code to visualize the data. Yay. Hi, hello. Thank you, Coach Jackie. Thank you for following. I'm learning Python and yet I don't remember the commands on I don't remember the commands on stream elements. Wait. I have to check. Yes, when you learn you're learning something for the first time, it seems that there are so many things to learn. But as you learn, as you use your knowledge, things will be a lot simpler. But if you're learning for the first time, yes, it can be complicated. It may seem complicated. But first, I have to thank you, Coach Jackie, for following. Don't worry, Tuna the Cuber. Surely this will have to have an end. It's just that the on this first chapter on this course outline, I guess I'm already two thirds. So we have more another one third of the course outline to work on. This is just the importing of data. But this is just the introduction on importing data. Then, and only from a file. The first chapter is just importing data from a file. Then we have to work on relational databases. So, I guess I have to exert more effort. Okay, continuing with the lesson. So, working with mixed data types. Much of the time, we'll need to import data sets which have different data types. Thank you, Coach Jackie, for following. It teaches this course. At least it teaches uses of pandas. That sounds pretty valuable. From what country are you, Tuna the Cuber? Can you tell me? I guess because here in the Philippines, it says that for the forecast, the data analysis will be in demand for the coming years. So that's why I'm trying to learn and trying to have a contribution so that so that many I hoping that many uh, will have the will to learn data analysis. So going back to the lesson, much of the time we need to import data sets which have different data types in different columns. One column may contain strings and another floats, for example. Then the function np.loadText will freak at this. So there is another function np.getFromText, which can handle such structures. If we pass the type equals none to it, it will figure out what types each column should be. Hi, hello again, Bastardo. Bastardo, what time are you streaming? Thank you so much. So, the function, okay, np.get gen from text, which can handle such structures. So, import titanic.csv using the function np.gen from text as follows. Here is the syntax. Data equals np.gen from text titanic.csv. Delimiter equals comma delimited. Then names equals true. And dtype equals none. So dtype stands for, I guess, data type. Then if we have to put the none value on the data type, it will, it says here that it will figure out what types each column should be. So it's very intelligent because it can figure out what data types each column just by passing the parameter none. Okay. Here, the first argument is the file name. The second specifies the delimiter. And the third argument names tells us there is a header. Okay, so the name parameter. The names parameters is used to identify that there is a header on our text file or CSV file on our file. Because data are of different types, data is an object called a structure array. Because NumPy arrays have to contain elements that are all the same type, the structured array solves this by being a one-dimensional array. 1D here stands for one-dimensional. Then where each element of the array is a row of the flat file imported. You can test this by checking out the array shape in the shell by executing np.shape data. Accessing rows and columns of structured arrays is super intuitive. To get the ith, to get the ith row or the nth row, merely execute data. Okay, so it's ith row. Merely execute data. I stands for the index. And to get the column with name fair, execute data, open close square bracket fair. After importing the Titanic data as a structured array as per the instructions above, print the entire column with the name survive to the shell. What are the last four values of this column? My sister is calling me. Wait. Thank you, Tuna the Cuber. Thank you so much. Thank you for visiting and thank you for spending time with my stream. Thank you. Thank you so much. Empty shape. Hello, bye, bye. Thank you so much. Thank you. Data equals, here the first argument is the file name. Because I have to take and hint. Don't forget to first import the data using so I have to paste here was empty that gen from text Trace back. Posters and call at last. For more details. Once again, explain the error. The D type is lowercase d. Lowercase. But I printed a type there. What should be the... Ah, okay. Wait. Uh-huh. It's the problem with... Can I paste? No. The problem with this GUI. Cannot paste it. So I have to type it again. So my error is I placed there D, then capitalize. I capitalize the type. The letter T on type should be all small caps. T dot gen from text. Okay, then this open close parentheses. Then it's what's hard with this GUI is we cannot copy and paste. It does not allow us to copy and paste on this IPython shell GUI that datacamp provides. CSV. Then delimiter equals open close names equals true. Then this was my error. D type should be all small caps. None. Okay. Hi, thank you, Bastardo, for poking back. Then next, yes, for the next instruction, thanks for your feedback. For the next instruction, we'll then need to execute data survive in the shell to answer this question. So let's type data inside the close survive. It displays a lot of binary binary values inside an array. So the question here is, what are the last four values of these columns? So the last four values is, you have to go to the bottom of this. Last four is 1010. 1010. So here's the answer. 1010. Okay. Thank you, Miss Ja. Then working with mixed data types. We have just used np.gen from text to import data containing mixed data types. There is also another function, np.rec from CSV. So I think the function gen from text is generate or generate data from text. Then another function is rec from CSV, which is similar, behaves similarly to gen from text. So, except that its default data type, D type, is none. So, in this exercise, we'll practice using these to achieve the same result. So, this is an alternative solution. As I've said before, in programming, we always should have an alternative. Actually, not just in programming, any problem solving or any uh, if we're going to have a solution to a problem, yes, problem solving uh, mechanisms. We always should have a alternative solution, alternative way to get the same result. So if we're working on something and finding it hard to use the one one way of importing data, we can always have another way, as long as we can get the same result. So what's important is we know what uh, what our result should be. So for the instructions, import titanic.csv using the function np.rec from CSV and assign it to a variable d. So the file is okay. This time we have to do the code on our own because it doesn't provide any any codes on the line. So np.rec from CSV. You need to only pass file to it, file, because it has the defaults. The default delimiter is comma, and names is true in addition to the D type is none. So we can just pass the file name because all of the other parameters have the defaults are what's needed. So run the remaining code to print the first 3 entries of the the resulting array. Rec from CS. Ah, it lacks O. Okay, rec from CSV. Then submit the answer. Yes. It's just 74%. I have.
Congrats! You're now able to import a bunch of different types of flat files into Python
Thank you,
as
Miss
NumPy
Jennifer.
arrays. Although arrays are
Thank you,
incredibly
Miss Jam,
powerful
Miss
and serve a
Jennifer, and
number of
Bastardo.
essential
Thank you.
purposes, they cannot fulfill one of the
Thank
most
you.
basic needs of a data scientist: to have two-dimensional labeled data structures with columns of potentially different types that you can easily perform a plethora of data sciencey type things on. Manipulate, slice, reshape, group by, join, merge, perform statistics in a missing value friendly manner, deal with time series.
Thank you so
The
much.
need for such a data structure, among other issues, prompted Wes McKinney to develop the Pandas library for Python. Nothing speaks of the project to pandas more than the documentation itself. Python has long been great for data munging and preparation, but less so for data analysis and modelling. Pandas helps fill this gap, enabling you to carry out your entire data analysis workflow in Python without having to switch to a more domain-specific language like R. The data structure most relevant to the data manipulation and analysis workflow that Pandas offers is the data frame, and it is the Pythonic analogue of R's data frame. As Hadley Wickham tweeted, a matrix has rows and columns, a data frame has observations and variables. Manipulating data frames in Pandas can be useful in all steps of the data scientific method, from exploratory data analysis to data wrangling, pre-processing, building models, and visualization. Here, we will see its great utility in importing flat files, even merely in the way that it deals with missing data, comments, along with many other issues that plague working data scientists today. For all of these reasons, it is now standard and best practice in data science to use pandas to import flat files as data frames. Later in this course, we'll see how many other types of data, whether they're stored in relational databases, HDF5, MATLAB or Excel files, can easily be imported as data frames. To use pandas, you first need to import it. Then, if we wish to import a CSV in the most basic case, all we need to do is to call the function readCSV and supply it with a single argument, the name of the file. Having assigned the data frame to the variable data, we can check the first 5 rows of the data frame, including the header, with the command data.head. We can also easily convert the data frame to a NumPy array by calling the data frame attribute values. Now, it's your turn to play around importing flat files using Python. You'll get experience importing a flat file that is straightforward, and you'll also get experience importing a flat file that has a few issues, such as one that contains comments and strings that should be interpreted as missing values. Have fun importing.
So import pandas as PD. Using pandas to import flat files as data frames. In the last exercise, we were able to import flat files containing columns with different data types as NumPy arrays. However, the data frame objects in pandas is a more appropriate structure in which to store such data, and thankfully we can easily import files of mixed data types as data frames using the pandas function read underscore CSV and read underscore table. So we're now on Panda. So for the instructions, import the pandas package using the alias PD. I'll have to take a hint because so the package import pandas pandas as PD. This is right. man, this is pity. I, you just have to rewrite it. Then read titanic.csv into a data frame called df. The file name is already stored in the file object. Okay, so pd read csv file. Read the file into a data frame, df. Okay. Then view the head of the data frame. How do I view the head of the data frame? It says here that in a print function called view the head of the data frame. So print function, data frame. Method head. I hope this is correct. Wait. Try passing the string object file to pd.read. Okay. Then to view the head of the data frame, apply the method head to it. So I hope this is right. Error explain again. Because the name head is not defined. This means that the function head is not recognized by Python. To fix this error, we need to call the head function on the df data frame directly. So I'm once again mixing up. So I guess this is the correct syntax. Let me see. Okay, so once again, my error is in the sequence of the codes. I'm used to placing the value inside the function, but the correct syntax should be the object that the function. Okay. Hello again, Bastardo. Thank you so much. What time is your stream? Ano to? Papawisan. Hello 2021. Thank you. Thank you for the snack. very hot in here. The weather is hot. Thank you, thank you. Okay. How far are we from 85%? So I guess I have to, I still have to, uh, about 20 minutes, another 15%. Okay. So using pandas to import flat files as data frames. In the last exercise, we were able to import flat files into a pandas data frame. As a bonus, it is then straightforward to retrieve the corresponding NumPy array using the attribute values. Now we'll have to have a chance to do this using the MNIST dataset, which is available as digits.csv. Then for the instructions, import the first 5 rows of the file into a data frame using the function pd.read_csv and assign the result to data. Read the first 5 rows of the file into a data frame data. Data equals using the function pd.read_csv. Then we'll have to need to use the arguments and rows and header. But what is the syntax for from the previous I have to uh, recall the syntax, the uh, sequence of the parameters. So guess you have to use, because from the previous exercise we don't have to uh, set the parameters because the required from the exercise, the requirement of the exercise has the default default values, which is the delimiter is equals to the comma delimiter, and the data type is none. So with this exercise, it's specified here that we have to use the argument and rows and header. Hindi natandaan ang hindi natandaan ang syntax. Delimiter ang sunod. Then skip rows. Then data type. Use calls. File PDs, there is no header. So you need to pass none to the argument header. Expects a header by default. But can I just place here header equals none? Or do I have to place multiple commas? Use the attribute values on data to build a NumPy array. Values. Getting sleepy again. Argument and rows and header is no and rows values. Data array. Data frame, data array. Okay. Let me check again on the instructions. File, there is no header, so you need to pass none to the argument header as PD expects a header by default. Use the attributes value on data to build a NumPy array. Values for okay. Wait. Hi, thank you so much, Bastardo, for completing the snaps. And thank you for always dropping by. Thank you so much. Values. I think there will have to be have an error. Cannot be executed due to syntax error. Check the console for details. AI assistant. sustain an error. It's good to know that you have an AI assistant. The NP, okay. NP is not defined. Okay, because I haven't imported it. But on this exercise, we were not instructed to import. So what do we do now? Read the first. Okay. Data, PD, read, data array equals. Okay. So you just have to use data values, print. Okay. So to read the first 5 rows of the file, we have to put the value of n rows equals 5 as a passing parameter. So we have to know uh, the format of the read underscore CSV function to be able to do that. So here the format is the first parameter is the file name. The second parameter here is the number of rows, which is the first 5 rows, and the third parameter is the header. By default, the function uh, has a header, but if we if our text file doesn't have a header, we have to specify it as on the parameters, which is header equals none. Then to build a numpy array from the data frame data array equals data values. So it's correct. We don't have to import the numpy array because the code here is just the data dot values. So then print the data type. So okay, the error there was the format of the read underscore CSV function, what the passing parameters are. Okay. So here customizing our pandas import. 10%. I still have 10% to go. Still have 10% to go. Customizing our pandas import. The pandas package is also great at dealing with many of the issues we encounter when importing data as this data scientist, such as comments occurring in flat files, empty lines, and missing values. Note that missing values are also commonly referred to as NA or none. To wrap up this chapter, we're now going to import a slightly corrupted copy of the Titanic dataset, Titanic underscore corrupt.text.txt, which contains comments after the character, the which is the number sign, and is tab delimited. Hi, thank you, Miss Ja, for completing the snaps. Thank you so much. For the instructions, complete the SEP, the pandas version of, okay. So the SEP here is the pandas version of delim, which is a delimiter. Comment and NA underscore values argument of PD that reads CSV function. Comment takes characters that comments occur after in the file, which in this case is the number sign. I'm getting hungry. Okay. So, okay. So this is where the matplotlib, matplotlib, which is the library, as pyplot. So, as tuna cuber stated before. Tuna cuber. Then execute the rest of the code to print the head of the resulting data frame and plot the histogram of the age of passengers aboard the Titanic. Okay. Okay, so in this case, SEP is the delimiter, and the delimiter is tab delimited. So tab, then comment takes characters that comments occur after in the file, which in this case is the number sign. Okay, then NA or NNA or NA underscore values equals, in this case, the string nothing. Actually, when reading on the instructions, it seems complicated, but upon plotting the the values on the specified parameters of the function really is just simple. But when you read on the instructions and when you read on the when you read on the theory on the instructions, uh, it makes my my head ache. So we have to focus on the just have to focus on the parameters. What the passing parameters are. Okay. Then print the head of the data frame. Specified here that to print the head of the data frame, we have to uh, as the function use the function head on the data object, data object or on the data file. Then put it inside a print function. Okay. Then plot the age. So I guess just the importing of the what is needed here is just the importing on the file. Okay. So we have to run the code. I hope this time it doesn't generate. Yes. Thank you, thank you. It doesn't. So when it generates a result and a graph, it means that my answer is correct. Thank you so much. Yay! Good job. So that was just the first. That was just the first
We've seen a number of ways to read, print, and import flat
95%. So just final the final thoughts. This is the finale on this chapter. But
files.
just for
As a
this
data scientist, you will most often wish to use pandas. However, it was important to check out all the possible ways to import because you never know when they'll be useful.
Thank you
In the next
again, Miss
chapter,
Ja and
we'll see
Bastardo.
just
Thank
how
you
useful pandas can
everyone.
be when attempting to
I'll soon
import
be
a
ending
variety of
the
other file
stream.
types, such as Excel spreadsheets, along with native SAS and Stata files. It's also important to remember that, due to the active development community in open source software, there is constant activity in file formats and ways to import data. For example, on March 29, 2016, Wes McKinney, the creator of Pandas, and Hadley Wickham of R development fame, announced a new and fast on-disk format for data frames for R and Python, called Feather. As data frames are one of the most important data structures for data scientists, let's definitely keep our eyes on Feather. After learning to import many other file types in the next chapter, you'll learn how to interact with relational databases in Python. Then, in the second part to this course, you'll learn how to tear all types of data down from the web and how to interact with APIs to fulfill your big data fix. These are all essential techniques for the modern day data scientist to master, and the upcoming chapters and course will place you in good stead to becoming an importing data ninja Pythonista.
Pythonista. Okay, I'll end this stream today here. And thank you everyone.